I'm not going to their team. If anything, whoever like me at quarterback, that's where I'm going.
Y'all remember this?
If a team did ask you to do that, would you do it?
No, sir, I'm a quarterback.
When the stereotype persisted.
I'm tired of hearing the NFL castigated as some sort of bigoted league that is inferior to the NBA in terms of racial progress. Just like Patrick Mahomes, the NFL is the gold standard.
I pump the brakes, Whitlock.
You never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I would push everybody the rest of the season.
Nope, not there.
Number one's going to surprise some people. Which one, though, was going to be the question? I'm going to go Josh Allen from Wyoming.
Not there either.
It's about your ability to run the football. When I look at a guy like Lamar Jackson, I'm looking at a guy that's rushed for over 1,500 yards in 2016.
My only concern about Lamar Jackson is not deadly accurate. Mechanics are not what you'd call pretty mechanics.
No, sir, I'm a quarterback.
Nobody makes a living in the National Football League at 213 with the ball in his hands every play.
The NFL is not the gold standard, as Jason Whitlock implies. It continues to struggle in one glaring area every single year.
I've always been a team-first guy, but I think I'm a quarterback. I think that's that.
And Jalen Hurts is the latest casualty on the long list of black quarterbacks having their character disparaged and criticized for, as Terrell Pryor said, playing quarterback their whole lives. Cam Newton was described as fake and selfish. Cardell Jones, compared to Jamarcus Russell, was labeled not the brightest cookie in the world. Geno Smith, not a student of the game. Deshaun Kaiser, diva. Jalen Hurts took Alabama to the title game, transferred to Oklahoma, was a Heisman runner-up, threw for 3,851 yards and 32 touchdowns with 1,298 rushing yards and 20 more touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, there's a history of NFL teams demanding black quarterbacks switch positions at this time of year. In 1933, the NFL secretly decided to ban black players, reportedly at the behest of former Washington owner George Preston Marshall, a committed segregationist. The ban was rooted in the widespread racist beliefs about black inferiority that underpinned segregation, that whites assumed that African Americans lacked the physical stamina and emotional courage to excel. Though the ban was lifted 13 years later, African American quarterbacks were almost non-existent.
I knew it wasn't going to be a level playing field.
Let me introduce you to Marlon Briscoe, the AFL's first black quarterback. Racism was running rampant in 1968, but the more they did to me, the tougher I got, he said. Drafted in the 14th round in 1968 by Denver, he knew the Broncos wanted to play him elsewhere, so he demanded a tryout at quarterback. He got the audition, but not the job. Bad quarterback play plagued Denver and Briscoe, who threw 14 touchdowns in 5 games, a Broncos rookie record. He got the opportunity, but never played the position again.
George Taliaferro could really be considered the Jackie Robinson of college football and certainly pro football. He was the first black player ever drafted.
George Taliaferro was a legend, making 3 Pro Bowls, but only as a rusher and receiver who never completed more than 16 passes in a season. When Lamar Jackson was a prospect, one NFC scout told BR, his tape speaks volumes, but staffs can't see beyond their biases. He's black and athletic. Bias tells you he has to prove to you that he is smart enough. And if he can't, he's more valuable somewhere else because he's athletic. Lamar has to be twice as good, both mentally and physically, and he still can get Deshaun Watson. My fellow Jews have a saying, l'dor v'dor, from generation to generation. Throughout the history of pro football, black quarterbacks have been marginalized. They have been bashed. They have been disenfranchised from the position by the mainly white gatekeepers in the National Football League from succeeding. While there has been a breakthrough, the initial radical process is being displayed in plain sight with 21-year-old Jalen Hurts, adding his name to the roster of pre-draft racial coding these gatekeepers employ and over time remain stuck in the past. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, Mandela said. It's time those at the top carry out this message. If you'd like to hear more thought-provoking content like TYT Sports on Facebook and to help in my journey to keep media independent, go to tyt.com/Rick.